If you tell me what I
I
said,
can't.
then I'll be able to
I
recreate it.
I don't know. I don't remember. I was focused on the voice. It was like a deep, weird voice.
I
Dig
can't just
deeper
do it
on
on
me.
command like that.
It's disappointing.
What's going on? Oh, getting warmed up, Chris? Getting warmed up?
Let's get it on.
Waiting for tonight. Oh, you could be here in my heart. Waiting for tonight. Oh. Oh, he's in a room. I always thought that was a living room.
Dude, I did too. I thought that was outside. That's when I was like, you have like outside cats?
Man.
All right, guys, let's talk about Mortal Kombat. So there's an R-rated. Are you done?
Are you finished?
There's an R-rated Mortal Kombat reboot.
All right, now I'm done. I'm Trey.
I'm Tony.
I'm Chris, and this is a Trey show. We like to talk about a variety of topics and stories that have no common thread other than we find them interesting. On the show, we share our unqualified opinions on whatever the hell we want. We have a good time doing it. We hope you do too. So let's get to today's stories. First up, Black Widow is delayed again. Originally slated for release in May 2020, Black Widow was delayed because of the impact COVID has had on movie theaters. The most recent date Disney has committed for Black Widow was May 7th, 2021. But reports are indicating that the date is now in jeopardy as Disney continues to hope for the state of moviegoing to improve. It's probably going to continue to struggle, and Disney is also looking at a streaming release, but doing so really as a last resort. Phase 4 is picking up with the release of WandaVision, and while Black Widow is a prequel, it still might play into Phase 4, so the timing of the release might matter. So guys, do we care about this?
So I'll start. I'm surprised they're being so protective of this movie when there's a lot of other streaming services and studios and even Disney that has released their movies on the streaming service. Like Mulan, for example, I think they charge an extra $30 or something like that. I think they need to be a little bit careful because we're already moving into Phase 4. It's been how many years since Avengers Endgame? And then now this movie's been delayed a year, and I think it's going to be delayed a little bit longer. We kind of joke about it, Chris, where I'm like, nobody cares about the movie anyway. Just release it. And I say that halfway joking around, but I think they do need to be careful because it's been so long now with the character. Now, I think the character has a long enough following to where people will care. But for me personally, my interest is waning. But I was probably never going to go see this in the movies. This was an at-home thing for me anyway, so that probably plays into that. I'm excited to see David Harbour. Obviously, big fan of his from Stranger Things. And then the trailer looked like they had a pretty decent story mapped out. So, yeah, if anybody cares, they should probably go ahead and release it. But see.
I mean, I'm excited about it. I know you're not as excited as I am about it. I think here's the issue that Disney has. So COVID's impacting them across the board. Their park revenue from Disney World, Disneyland has been incredibly impacted. A lot of different things are hurting for them, except the streaming service is one of the things that's generating revenue for them and their movies. And the Marvel movies, more than any others, for them are cash cows. They make so much money. So I think when you say why are they so protective, I think that's why, because they're holding out hope that the movie theaters will rebound and they can make a little bit of money. Mulan was never going to make a lot of money. So I think that was one that they just, said, screw it, let's just release that one. And they didn't even really release it on streaming. It was basically like on-demand pay-per-view through Disney Plus. So it's a little weird the way they did that. Maybe that is another way they can go about streaming in the future for AAA movies like this. But I think for them, I think that it's difficult for them to acknowledge and accept that they have to release a Marvel movie, $100 million plus movie on streaming and not get the $1 billion that they likely would get from a global movie theater business. So I think that's where they're struggling with it. Tony, I don't know if you care about this movie or not, but curious what your thoughts are.
I don't. I have no interest in seeing this movie. Yeah.
You guys are
Next
haters.
comment. Next topic. No. Yeah, I guess.
Hey, all right.
Like Trey, I have no interest in seeing this in the theaters or paying money to see it. But if it shows up on a streaming service, I might give it a look. I don't care about the characters. Don't care about the actors in this role. They're holding on to it too long, in my opinion. But I'm not a fan of what this movie. So I don't even know, because I don't care where this movie takes place in the timeline of Marvel. Is this a prequel of Black Widow? Is this a multiverse thing because of what Phase 4 may look like? Is this that's the only thing it can be, because she's supposed to be dead, right?
No, it takes place after Civil War, so it's I guess a prequel current state, but it takes place after Civil War.
So about the actor from Stranger Things, have either of y'all seen the Hellboy that he was in?
I saw the preview for it, and it looked exactly the same thing as the one that Del Toro did, and so I didn't understand why they rebooted it if they were going to do it with the exact same look and feel.
Well, they basically made it horrible this time. So
A lot of people like the Del Toro one, right?
I did. I actually
never, you liked it?
Really,
okay.
Yeah, they were actually really good.
So. He tried. I think what's his name? David what?
Harbour.
So he tried to. It was like Ron Perlman-esque from the first two, but it wasn't Ron Perlman. So it was almost kind of like he melded in. I did not like it. I did not like his performance in that. I do like him as an actor. I enjoy the character that he plays on Stranger Things. Looking forward to that next season. But I just got I got no dog in the fight for this movie, so I don't even care.
All right, well, let's bring this one to a close. And the next topic that we're going to have is the Justice League update from Zack Snyder. All right, guys, so Zack Snyder has confirmed that Justice League is going to be a 4-hour movie, not a miniseries. I actually didn't realize that there was a rumor out there that it was going to be a 4-hour miniseries. It's currently slated for release on HBO Max in March. So, Trey, you and I have talked a little bit about this. For me personally, I'm excited to see the movie, but not because I think it's going to be a good movie. I actually still think it's going to be trash. I thought the original Justice League was pretty trash. I'm just interested to see it because there's so much hype around the Snyder Cut. I think it would be cool to see some new scenes that have been filmed. And certainly, I mentioned this to you guys before, I love when a director is given total free reign to build the movie that they want. And then to go see exactly their vision of what they thought great was going to look like. I think it's fascinating. So more than anything, that's probably why I'm interested to go see it. I don't expect to kind of walk away thinking I love the Justice League now where I didn't before, but I am interested to see what Zack Snyder's vision is. So, guys, what do you think?
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I agree with Chris on this. I wasn't a fan of the first one. I'm a fan of DC though. I'm invested in the characters. I like everything that's come out so far, minus Wonder Woman 84, I guess. But I mean, some of us disagree with that statement, but that's okay. So, yeah, let's see what happens. I don't think it's going to make any of us fall in love with the Justice League and hope they make a second one, but I'm interested in seeing what his vision was originally, what it comes out to be. A little interested to see what they do with Leto, what his version of the Joker is going to be in this world. I've heard a lot of rumors, what this could be about. So that's exciting, but again, like Chris said, I mean, so it's going to be a 4-hour movie, not a 4-hour series thing. They were supposed to, I guess rumor had it they were going to release it in bits and pieces or whatever. That's going to be tough, to be honest. Remembering how the first one went, that's a movie I can't rewatch. So it'll be interesting how long I'll stay invested, or if I'll fast forward. Like, okay, we already know this part. Let's get to the stuff we haven't seen before. And the whole Ray Fisher thing, that the fallout with that, and it's just I don't know. I'm excited about it though. More excited about this than I am for Black Widow. So we'll see. That's my vote in the two that we've talked about recently.
So I was thinking the same thing, Tony. 4 hours. We've already seen the movie. Is there going to be enough new content to make it compelling enough, or is it just going to be weird, like almost like you're watching the director cut and they just inserted a bunch of deleted scenes, right? Because they hype up the director cuts and then you watch it and it's random. And then the deleted scenes actually distract because you've gotten used to the original edit that was made.
Mm-hmm.
And so the new edit is, so yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but it will be a bit of an event. I might not watch it in one sitting because it is 4 hours. It's a pretty huge investment. So Trey, what about you? What do you think?
I'm with you guys. It'll be cool to see Zack Snyder's vision. Like everybody's been talking about that, and he's been talking about it and slamming Josh Whedon for good reason, and the fans have as well. So I think Zack Snyder and the fans, they're setting it up to where if for some reason it's not good, then it's like, okay, well, you were the ones that were clamoring for this. So, you said that you had this great vision that you were pulling everybody together to do reshoots and everything like that. So yeah, I'm interested to see it for that. I thought Justice League was bad, but I still like the characters. I like Aquaman. I like Wonder Woman. I like Batman, even Ben Affleck's version. I thought Flash was really funny and good. There wasn't enough of Cyborg to really know. And then I think there was a huge missed opportunity with Superman. And what the thought was that there was a darker storyline involved with him. So, which brings in, I'm assuming, the black Superman suit and things like that. So I think there's a lot of opportunities. That was actually what I was the most excited about. And I thought going in, they could really take a chance and actually leave Superman dead, or not dead, but even when they resurrect him, leave him bad and have the movie end with him still being bad. Because then couldn't they do another Man of Steel movie based on that? So I thought they just, they rushed that storyline and turned it and made it right and turned it right way too quick. So I thought the end of the movie was a joke. Like, it's like, okay, there's just fire in the background and flames, and they were talking about how they're going to remove that kind of random family that they put in there for more comedic effect. So I'm interested to see it, but go ahead.
Well, it wasn't there for comedic effect. So that's a Joss Whedon thing. So he does it all the time. So what to him, it's his mindset is that the audience doesn't feel like the stakes, what's at stake when things are like in too much of an epic proportion. So he wants to focus it in on something more personal. So it was the family, which I thought to me looked ridiculous. It was stupid, right? The Flash is helping like one little single family while everything else is going on. But you make a good point. I like all the characters too. I really like Wonder Woman. I like Affleck as Batman. I thought he was fine as him. I didn't have a problem with it at all. I like the Flash. I like Aquaman. So obviously how do you screw that up? You had all those great characters, and all you had to do is have a decent story, and they still couldn't stick the landing. So but it was interesting just that Zack Snyder is still listed as a producer on the newer DCEU movies, like Wonder Woman 84. So they're still involved. Right. But so yeah, you're right, Trey. Put your money where your mouth is. Everybody wanted the Snyder cut. Zack Snyder has basically said, I'm cutting everything out that Joss Whedon did, and now I'm going to do my own movie. He's been given, $50 million or whatever the number was from HBO to go do it. So let's see what he comes out with. I don't have high hopes for it. I still think it's going to be trash, but I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is if it does flop, beyond flop, he's going to say that everyone was too jaded by the original one that got released. And it was basically like one of those where he just couldn't come back from it. It was already, seen too negatively in the minds of everyone. And he tried his best, but he couldn't do it. Whereas, had he been able to do his vision, maybe everyone would have given it a shot, as opposed to now you're kind of giving it a second shot. In my opinion, that's what would happen if it's just like, this is horrible.
Maybe let's see. I mean, if he can pull it off, Tony, maybe we walk away thinking, man, we really love that movie. But probably not.
When's the next one? I want another 4-hour one, part 2.
All right, so let's bring this one to a close. All right, guys, talk about Mortal Kombat. So there's an R-rated. Are you done? Okay.
Are you finished?
There's an R-rated Mortal Kombat reboot.
All right, now I'm done. Can I finish?
To HBO Max on April 16th. So what's interesting about this one, we're all aware of the one that came out in the 90s. which
Okay, so real quick, what did you think about that?
the one in the 90s.
Yeah, just quick.
I don't know. I need to rewatch it. So I remember thinking back when I originally came out that I thought it was trash, but I actually think that I probably like it because it's trash now. Looking back on it, because it was obviously low budget. Like the fight scenes are a little bit kind of weak, but also I grew up on a lot of the JCVD stuff, right? Like I love watching some of the stupid Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, Bloodsport, stuff like that. So I probably would appreciate like the 90s version
Right.
of Mortal Kombat a little bit more now. And they try to stay truer to the video game. And what I'm a little worried about with the new one coming out, pros and cons, right? It's R-rated, which is fantastic. There's going to be fatalities in it, which is very, very cool. But my understanding is that there's going to be some original characters that are not part of the classic group of characters that we might have played on the video game. And so I'm a little bit nervous about what that's going to look like. So I don't know. So Trey, I'll start with you. What do you think about, the movie? We haven't seen a lot of trailers or previews around it, but just from what you've seen, are you excited about it?
So I'm going to start with the 1995 movie, and the two video game movies that came out before that were number 1, Super Mario Brothers, number 2,
Trash.
Street Fighter.
Trash.
So when this movie came out, and we were in, probably 8th grade. Yeah, 8th grade. I remember going to go see it in the theater with Jose and walking out and just being like, and right at the beginning of the movie, they showed they have the Mortal Kombat techno song, and there's the dragon is in like 3D, and it's like, holy shit, this is for real, man. They're coming out swinging. Obviously at the time we both loved it. I know I loved it. But it was something to where it was like, see, you can make a good video game movie. They kept the cast of characters small. It was true to the video game, I feel like. So I really like that one. For this one, and so for the audience too, there's a kind of a fake trailer out online, and we all got sucked into thinking that it was the real trailer for the movie. And it's a fan-made trailer. You can kind of tell. So we were like, oh my God, this looks like a fan-made movie. What the hell are they doing? So luckily it wasn't the trailer, but I like the R-rated Mortal Kombat. I don't like that they're involving, and I know like one of the main characters isn't even in the game. There's so many characters in the game. Why do you need to bring somebody else in? And there was a Mortal Kombat web series that actually caught that got real popular, and it was just real dark and real gritty, low budget type deal, but it did a really good job of telling stories and again making it dark. I think there's so many good templates for how to make an adaptation like this, tell a good story, make it somewhat contained, that I think there's a lot that they can do. And it's just going to be up to the director, right? The writers and the directors, if they can, kind of make a contained story, make it interesting, focus on the characters. Let's see a lot of action. Let's see a lot of fights. I mean, just freaking Sub-Zero, Raiden, Scorpion, Kano, Sonya, Katana. If we can just see those core characters and there be some action, then I think it'll be okay. R rating, whatever, it's fine. I don't really need anything to be overly violent, but it's certainly not going to hurt for me. So yeah, I would say I have a decent amount of excitement for this.
I think HBO Max needs to be careful. So you look at Wonder Woman 84. I think they're at risk if they don't focus on quality of kind of duping people into thinking that there's all these sort of hyped up movies coming to their channel, to their streaming service, and then everyone's disappointed, right? So people were disappointed with Wonder Woman 84. Mortal Kombat comes out.
I thought you liked that movie though.
Hey, I'm in the minority. I didn't say I love the movie, but I don't think it's as trash as everybody says it is. Okay. Although I will admit the third act is complete garbage. No one knows what the hell is going on in it. But
just like the
if you look at, but Justice League is another one, right? That's getting all hyped up. If we watch it and then we're like, okay, this is trash. The next time the next movie comes out for HBO Max, like we're not going to trust them. Yeah. So I think they're at risk of losing credibility because of quality, and they're winning because of hype, but they're going to eventually lose the long game if they're not careful about that. So I just think that's something they need to really be a little bit focused on, in my opinion. So Tony, what about you? You excited about Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. So I've noticed with most things that come out, I do too much digging and I start reading articles and start reading things, and then I get a little bummed out because I'm like, oh, that's a horrible decision. Why are they bringing this other character in? And it makes no sense. And then I kind of come at it scorned because I'm usually texting Trey and telling him like, dude, did you hear that they're gonna do this? And then I kind of like I give it a bad name before I even give it a chance. But I mean that's how things are now, right? We got the internet. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we can find out so many things. We can find set pictures. We can get duped by fake ass trailers on YouTube that some little shit fucking put on there. That we were both like, oh, I mean, not both, all three of us were. I mean, you watched it or you were listening when we were watching it, like, no way. Oh, this doesn't even sound right. Like it
Mhm.
just seemed so. And then thankfully we found out it was fake. Um, so I think they have a chance to do something good with it. The R rating doesn't really matter to me as much. I feel like you can get away with a lot at PG-13 nowadays. I mean, how entertaining can some of these fatalities be outside of a video game, anyways? Like that's kind of the fun of it is it's in a video game. Like I don't really want to see someone pull a spine out of someone's body, Predator style, all the time, like close up or kick them in the balls and their testicles to go through their insides and come out their mouth or something like put some babalities and some animalities on there like the old school games. But hopefully
See, I think you have to have the
like
R rating to do Mortal Kombat right. Mortal Kombat's been R rated from
I
the
agree.
initial inception, so I think it does matter a little bit. But I agree with you. I mean, you can only take it so far.
Right. Don't get too carried away with it. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, the game didn't have cussing in it, which I know is a big thing when it comes to the rating thing. Like, you don't have to drop an F bomb every 10 seconds just to get your R rating. Like, if you want to make it gruesome, okay, cool. Like R rating violence. I don't know what the standards are nowadays, but you can do it tastefully and still make a pretty decent movie. I enjoyed the first one. I think it was more of a fanboy thing, though. Like Trey had said, it was the third video game movie to come out, and I at the time was a fan of The Highlander, the actual
Mhm.
original movie,
Yep.
which had Christopher Lambert in it. So for him to play Raiden, I didn't care that it was whitewashed. I was like, holy shit, it's fucking Christopher Lambert as Raiden,
He looked ridiculously stupid in
and
that
thinking
role.
of like even saying it, I'm like, oh, with his accent that no one can trace and no one actually knows why he talks the way that he talks. But it was good. I'm excited about it. That would be one if I enjoyed going to the movies, which we're going to talk about later. That I would go see in the theater with you
Okay.
guys, so I can
Okay.
hold your hands.
Well, let's work our way toward that conversation. So let's move from one movie to the next. So now we're going to talk about Thor: Love and Thunder. All right, guys. So Thor: Love and Thunder has begun filming in Australia. There's a lot of characters that look like they're going to appear in the movie. We got Captain Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, Natalie Portman's returning as Jane Foster, Nebula, and somehow even Matt Damon's involved. I'm pretty excited about it. I think, to be honest with you, this is also going to be a blueprint for a lot of the movies going forward, where they're going to be sort of like mini Avenger movies, where you're going to have a lot of the different casting characters involved. Once you get past the initial origin stories, so like the Captain Marvel origin story, and then move to the sequels, I think you're going to start to see more and more of these characters popping up, which I think is going to be pretty cool. But it will raise the bar for the next Avengers movie. I'm really excited about this. I think where they've taken the Thor movies is really good. I think this is going to be a great movie. I am a little bit worried though. So you mentioned a minute ago, Tony, that like we live in the age of the internet where we get to see all the leaks that are happening, the set photos. I'm worried that for the Avenger or for the Marvel movies and movies like it, that the amount of social media coverage is actually going to ruin the movies. We'll know everyone that's going to be in the movie before the movie even starts, and a lot of it will be spoiled for us. So I'm worried about that, but I'm excited about the movie. What do you guys think?
I'm excited about it, man. I'm really excited about this. I've enjoyed all the Thor movies. So, who's doing this one? Is it Taika or is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Taika
Okay. Well,
Waititi.
that's all I needed to know,
Yep.
man. Hey, that's fine. You can put whatever characters you
He's
want
gonna
to
do a
with it. You
Star
can
Wars.
put,
He's gonna do a Star Wars movie apparently too.
dude. Yeah, I'll be there for that one. Like,
Yep.
if I I guess fanboy out on anyone right now. Most of his, I'm actually going back and watching like some of the older things that he's participated in, just because it's a different kind of comedy, I guess. In effect, you know, I like it. It's new to me, so I'm enjoying it. But yeah, I mean, you know, when they include more characters, more Avengers, or more superheroes, if you will, to the storyline, because you know, a lot of times that's what some of the conversation always winds up being is, well, where was Cap when this was going on, or how come Spider-Man didn't show up? They were, you know, in the vicinity of New York, or the timeline fits perfect as to why where was the Hulk during this, or something like that. Like, if they're all best friends, why didn't they help out their best friend? Because that's kind of how what friends do for each other. So if they want to start bringing more people into it, I'm excited about that too. Tastefully, you know, if they do it right, and they could just keep, you know, don't overwhelm it, but at the same time, I think you can write it well to have more characters and then relate it to the next movie that comes out and things like that. What do you think, Trey?
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, they kind of at the end of the Avengers, you know, they started the Asgardians of the Galaxy storyline. Natalie Portman coming back. I'm a big fan of hers. I think that'll be really cool. I'm interested to see how they're going to do, you know, where she's wielding Thor's hammer. You know, what is that going to look like? And then they're also bringing back some of the characters from the first Thor movie that we haven't seen since then. And then, of course, and I'm blanking on her name, the girl that basically took over Asgard. What is her name? Do you remember? And then in the movies,
Valkyrie. Valkyrie was the part.
Yeah, and I enjoyed her. I enjoyed her as a character. I thought going back to Thor 3, I thought Thor 3 was awesome. I mean, it was so great. Different, and they seem to give the Thor directors like, okay, just do whatever you want. You know, Thor 1 was really different. I really like Thor. I like the second one too. A lot of people didn't like the second one. I thought you didn't like it, Chris.
That was trash.
I still thought it was good. And then the third one obviously just blew me away. So I'm really excited to see where they take it. I think they're going out on a limb, which it seems like they are doing on a lot of the Phase 4 stuff. But to kind of make it the Love and Thunder storyline, I think it's going to be really, really cool. I'm excited. And obviously the director, can't say enough about, I don't want to butcher his name, but you can't say enough about him and what he's done. And the rock character, I don't remember what his name is, but the guy that's made of rocks and his voice is just, I mean, it's genius. It's hilarious. So I'm really excited for this one too.
All right, guys, let's wrap up the Thor conversation. And so this week's What We Hate is brought to you by Tony. So Tony, you hate going to the movie theater. So talk to us about that.
Okay, so this has been a long time coming. All right, so you know, grew up going to the movies all the time, right? I mean, me and Trey, we stood in line, midnight lines, Lord of the Rings, the Phantom Menace, just Transformers. It's an interesting take, and I come at it from this. I'm old. I hate crowds. I hate people other than you two and my family. I hate noise when I'm trying to enjoy something on TV or in the movie theater. I'm sorry, when I'm trying to enjoy a movie. I hate the person that's got to go by because they got to go to the bathroom 1 minute into the theater, 1 minute into the movie, I'm sorry, not knowing that they were about to see a movie, apparently, because they had 45 minutes from when they sat down to go to the bathroom, but they waited until the movie started. The person behind you that kicks the chair, the baby that's crying, the people that answer their phones, all the just shit that goes on in a movie theater. Now, so I guess to kind of undermine what I just said, movie theaters have changed a lot. You've got the eateries now that are a little more expensive, right? So they kind of cater to the older crowd, not the teenagers that really just don't care. They just want to make out and get a stinky pinky and do things like that. So they're willing to pay the $20, the $25 to go and have a luxury experience in these lazy boy chairs and have decent food and have a couple drinks in them. But I've noticed, like, with the last year, well, I guess last year doesn't count. So 2 years ago, that even those are getting overran by children and people that just really don't give a fuck. You know, I feel like most people are always concerned about themselves as opposed to other people, you know. Maybe that's a generational thing. I don't know. I'm just saying. Sometimes millennials get a bad name, but maybe they're not really that bad. But it's like, dude, I want to go to a theater, sit down, and then once the trailers start, from the days I remember, unless you're clapping or laughing or something, like you don't talk during a movie. And I felt like towards the end of 2018, 2019, it just got overran by people that just don't give a fuck about what the fact that you also pay the same amount of money that they did to watch a movie. So that is what I'm passionate about, and that's why I love the streaming services. A lot of people don't really like it. The big wigs. We talked about this before too. Is it the future? Is it not? I'd much rather, because I can pause it here and tell the person to shut the fuck up. But in most cases, you can't do that in a movie theater. Especially, I don't want to get shot or yelled at or something by someone that's a lot taller than I am. So that's how I feel. Chris, what do you think? I know you like movies.
So real quick before we go over to Chris, Tony, you worked in a movie theater for a decent amount of time.
Oh, yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about, because I'm assuming most people have not, I've never worked in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Can
I worked in
you
a
talk?
Cinemark.
You did? Okay. Can you talk a little bit, Tony, about what your experience was and just what your takeaway was? Because like you said, we all grew up going to the movies, right? We love the thought of the movie theater. It's the environment that maybe it's kind of turned into, and some of the stresses that I think we don't like. So I don't know. I think it'd be interesting for you to talk a little bit about what that experience was like, all in too, right? Like,
Yeah,
food
I mean,
and alcohol and all
dude,
that.
yeah, my senior year. So what was that? 1999 into 2000, I worked at the Granada in Addison, Texas, which at the time, this was the internet and everything obviously was still around, but didn't branch out much from Texas at least. So from what I got when I got hired on was that was like a new thing to be able to sit down and have dinner, have a waiter, drink beer, alcohol, shots, pitchers of beer, pitchers of margaritas. We had
They
a bar in the
lobby.
in the lobby. So you buy your ticket, and the first thing you see when you walk in is a full service bar, not like a beer and wine only, a full service bar. And I'm sure Mike is still tending that bar somewhere to this day. Greatest bartender
I saw him
I've
at the
ever
one
met
in
my entire
Plano a
life.
couple years ago.
Yeah, see. So it was as a 18-year-old kid, it was a new thing. I mean, it's not what it is now. I mean, movie eateries are around everywhere, but I started out just as a food runner, and even then, like, you turn your light on when you want something and you order your chicken strips or whatever, and we would bring it out. And I mean, it's just quiet, right? Like, you like almost hold your breath walking through to give someone their food, because it's just, you don't want to ruin that experience, because that's, people pay good money to come see this, and even more now, like, because a movie ticket back then was probably $6 or $7 to see a non-matinee film, but I think ours was maybe like 11 or 12, maybe a little bit more. It wasn't over 20, but you're paying for a full dinner experience while you're watching a movie. And I remember, like, a couple times, being from the South, you kind of go through a crowd and you're like, excuse me, sorry, excuse me. And someone's like, shh, like, shut up. Like, oh yeah, okay. So you're bringing someone their fucking pitcher of beer while they're watching The Exorcist when it got
chicken
re-released,
tenders,
whatever year that was. They're chicken tenders. So I went from being a food runner to being a waiter, and it was kind of the same experience. I mean, it wasn't any different. Like, it was still, we never got complaints of people really, like, over drinking and becoming obnoxious, because that wasn't what people did. You paid good money, and so did everyone else that was there. I think you could pay a little more and sit in the VIP section. And technically all that was an area that was maybe 12 inches above the rest of the theater. It was raised just a little bit so that you can kind of see over the entire crowd. But at the same time, I mean, it's full access, full service the entire time. And it was for an 18-year-old kid, it was awesome. It was a good time. And then so that's kind of the way, I don't want to say I was introduced to the movies, but I mean, that's how it changed shortly after that. I felt like once that kind of theme, if you will, started catching on, even Cinemark and other things now, AMC's, or back then they would have like the cafe inside, right? You could get a pizza or you could get a burger instead of the traditional like nachos, maybe some popcorn, a little bit of candy. Now you can get like caramel corn, or you can get chocolate covered this, freshly made in their little cafe or whatnot. But you still take that and then you go sit down. You don't actually have a waiter that comes by that checks on you. But now they have what is it? Studio Movie Grill. What do they have now?
Studio Movie Grill and a movie house
Studio
eatery.
Movie Grill and movie house eatery, like which I've been to. And
well.
I mean, food and alcohol wise, the one that's in Addison, which is when they tore the Granada down and they built like that whole new area. The one that iPix is what you said,
iPix,
right?
yeah.
That one's, I mean, they got a whiskey tasting bar upstairs that they did at one point. I mean, it's some high end stuff. Like it's nice. But even then, like, you don't have to be, of that ilk to buy those tickets. So you still get like kids that come in that want to, that don't really care. I mean, they just don't care. So they come in and they talk and run around and all that kind of shit. And it's just, I would much rather now, again, I think it's just a grumpy old man phase. Like, I don't want to spend shit now. What if it's me and Tish over $100 or close to get the tickets, have a good, decent meal, buy some drinks, and then watch a movie to have someone hitting my chair when they walk by, kicking the chair from behind. And I think it's gotten so watered down too. And this is just my personal opinion, but like the service sucks now. The food isn't the same. It's all like commercialized because it's all owned by like Brinker or something like that. So it's just, instead of everything being made to order, it's just like things that are pre-breaded and they throw it in the fryer for a couple minutes and then bring it out to. My opinion, I took way too much time to do that.
No, that was good.
You guys,
Chris, what do you think?
tear me up. I know you will, because y'all love going to the movies.
It's nostalgia. I think that's what keeps people coming back to the movies. It's nostalgia. You look at, every generation went to the movies and they were nostalgic over it. We go to the movies because it's the connection to your childhood. We all went to the movies as kids. We all line, before you could reserve specific seats, back in the day, you'd stand in line for 2 hours. So you could, to get a seat for the time of the movie that you wanted. I mean, obviously movie theaters now are far more advanced than they were before. I like going to the movies. I love taking my son to the movies. It's one of our favorite things to do. I think movies are endangered species though. I think streaming services are a massive threat to them. As much grief as I give Christopher Nolan for how outraged he is over the HBO Max stuff, he's not wrong in the sense that the movie theaters are 100% at risk. And the COVID pandemic is, I think, is potentially going to accelerate the demise of a lot of them. They need to evolve in some way, because what's about to happen now, so, with COVID, you look at theaters probably won't be the same until you get into 2022. So now you're talking, you've gone 2+ years without theaters being relevant. So you now have a gap, a generational gap of people that just don't go to the movies or got used to not going to the movies. And so now it's not nostalgic for them. And so they're not going to want to go back. They're just going to want their movies given to them on streaming services, like you said, Tony. So I think theaters are going to have to evolve over time. They have quite a bit. To your point, Tony, they have, reserved seats. They have, cocktails, all kinds of beer and wine, everything, bars, tastings. They have all kinds of stuff. It might not be enough. But what I will say about the theater experience is that it's an experience. And I think the one thing, if you just, click on a movie on Netflix on a Saturday night and you're chilling at home, like it's cool and it's fun and it's convenient, but it's not an experience. It's just not. Like you can't compare it. Even if you have your own theater room, it's still not the same experience as going out to the theater for several reasons. Obviously, the scale of the screen and the sound, but then also that shared experience with other people being there and you're all watching the movie, especially in a packed house. And bumping seats isn't much of a problem now. If you go to iPick or a movie house eatery, and Trey, I think you've been to movie house eatery over in McKinney, you don't, like, you can't bump people's seats. They're pretty far apart from each other. The walkways are wide. But I'll always have a soft spot for movie theaters. I always love them and love going to movie theaters. but I can get why people don't like it. Like, it makes perfect sense to me why they don't. And I am truly scared that in 20, 30 years, movie theaters will be a rarity, something that people look at more kind of as a niche thing versus a mainstream thing that it used to be. I worked at Cinemark at Vista Ridge Mall, actually, back in the day. And I mean, I loved it when I was working there. So I was an usher, and I was working behind the snack bar. And I really enjoyed it, just because I was closer to the movies. So it's sad to see the transition that the industry is going through right now. And it just is what it is. They're going to have to evolve and figure it out. But for me, I love the movies. I love going to the theater. Tony, I get it. If you don't, it makes sense to me. But it'll be something to me that's irreplaceable.
I think my enjoyment and appreciation for the movies actually came from hanging out with you and Steve. And it was just a thing where, and this was probably 1993. We would go to the movies every Friday. There was nothing else to do. The movies was a destination. We would go there. We would play video games before, and then we'd go in and we'd watch the movie, and then we would talk about the movie on the way home. And then, we'd talk about it when we got back to where we were going to play video games. So I feel like
Larry bought y'all's tickets.
That's certainly possible. That was nice to get in there for free.
But it was the experience. That's kind of what I was getting at, Trey. Right? It's that shared experience, right? It's that, right? It's how we bonded. It's how we talked about stuff. And so, like, I think it's hard, and we're kind of doing that here, right? It's another version of it here, right. But it can't replace all of us going to the movie, having that shared experience, and then talking about it, like you said. So I don't know. I think, like I said, I think it's hard to replace.
I appreciate the convenience that there is now, where you can go online and reserve your ticket and your seat. This is a little bit corny and cheesy, but probably when we went to go see the Star Wars movies in the theaters, the last few, probably not as much Rise of Skywalker, but I know for Force Awakens, man, when the opening crawl came up, and everybody starts cheering. And I used to tell Vanessa, when you go see a big movie on opening night or on Saturday, you're going to get some people cheering. And it is corny or whatever, but man, it's a cool experience.
It is very
to be
cool.
Sitting there when people are into the movie and something cool happens and they're cheering. So I enjoyed that. For us, we use it. And I talked about this in one of the early episodes. It's a really good date night, right? So we get the tickets ahead of time. We have it on the calendar. We're looking forward to it. And in a normal year, we might do that 4 times a year when a big movie would release. But, we have a drink at the house. We Uber to the movie theater. We have a drink before. We go into the movie theater. We order food. We watch the movie, enjoy it. And then we have a drink or two at the bar after, and we get to talk about the movie. So it's actually become a really cool experience just to go and experience that from the movie theater standpoint, and then getting to enjoy that. So it's a really good and really, I say easy, but it's a convenient date night as well. So I don't know. That's been good in recent years. So that's one of the things that I miss from that. So my last thought is, while all those conveniences are great, and I think this goes to what Tony's issue is, people have an issue with sitting through a hour and 45-minute movie, a 2-hour movie, a 2.5-hour movie, and just shutting the fuck up. Like, they can't handle it. People cannot handle sitting somewhere and not talking for that long. So my issue is, if you can't handle not talking for that long, then you should wait until the movie comes to streaming or on demand or DVD or Blu-ray, because you always have that group of people, whether it's they're in the back or they're next to you, they're asking questions about the movie or they're commenting on it, like they're a part of it. Like, oh yeah, I'm glad he did that. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, nobody wants to hear your commentary on the movie. And I genuinely think it's an issue with somebody sitting somewhere for more than a small amount of time and not talking. People love to hear their voice. So that has been one of my biggest frustrations. And again, back to what Tony said, if somebody's talking, what do? Do you tell them to be quiet? You can, depending on what state you live, they can shoot you, they can stab you, then it turns into a fight. So it's this thing where you don't want to get into it, but somebody's talking, and so there's a chain that opened, and unfortunately a lot of them are closing down in Texas, and we live in Texas, is Alamo Draft House, where their deal is like, look, if you're talking or even if you're on your phone, they're going to come and get you and they're going to escort you out. So I actually think that that's an interesting take on the movies. And again, unfortunately they're closing, but they serve alcohol, they serve food and all that stuff. But I think that's very commendable. So I like going to the movies. However, if somebody is talking or if there's a kid talking or whatever, it ruins the whole thing. Because in the whole movie, you're just like, I can't concentrate because I'm waiting for the person behind me to keep talking. And again, what is so important that you need to talk about it instead of just being quiet for an hour and a half. So I'm with you on that part of it, Tony. But that's it from my take.
All right. I agree with you, Trey.
I think it was a good conversation. I think we had some good pros and cons. I mean, I was mostly cons, but there are things that I miss about theaters. Like, so we saw Endgame. Again, like where we are, we're up in the mountains. We're in a small ass little community up here. So our theater only shows about 3 movies every 2 weeks, and capacity is maybe like 20 something people in there at a time. So it's a completely different feel. Yeah, like you don't get that like stadium seating like we used to at the Grand when we were growing up. That was just huge and like tons of people. So when we watched Endgame, when Cap picked up Mjolnir or whatever the fuck, no one clapped, and I'm over there like, damn, I was the one. Like, I broke character. I was the one that was like, I knew it, hell yeah, but like no one else in the theater cheered. Like everyone was just like.
To this day, that scene gives me goosebumps and chills because when he did it in the movie, everybody was just, I mean, for the whole time when he, when he grabbed it, but then when he's beating up Thanos, I mean, people were going just crazy the whole time. Yeah. And I think that's something that you can't get, that like you said, Chris, that's the experience. You can't get that anywhere else. And every time I watch those movies and I watch Endgame, I wait for that scene and I just remember what it was like sitting in the theater with everybody going crazy for that.
And it's kind of like watching like playoff anything, right? Like you watch it at home and you can cheer it. It's great. But if you're at a bar of local people that still that are cheering for the same team, and then you get an interception or you get a first down or you get a touchdown or anything positive, you run around, high five everyone, and it's amazing. And it's that feeling of camaraderie or whatever that's great. Like you like it, I like it, we all like it, and we know it, and we're gonna celebrate it. Like that I do miss, but when it comes down to it, I'd rather just watch it at home because I don't want to waste my money and then wish evil things on this 17-year-old that's behind me. And Chris, to what you said earlier, most theaters now, there's like 7 fucking feet between the end of their chair and the back of my chair. So why the hell do you have to still touch my chair? Like, I don't understand. Like, I've literally
I don't know what theater you're going. Like, I don't know what theater you're going to, Tony. But nobody touches the back of.
It's the most
of my chair.
Theater ever, Chris. It hurts my feelings. It's so bad. But like, it was Movie Eatery. It was the one in off of 121. That was the last time I was like, I'm not going anymore. I stood up and I turned around and I threatened like a 14-year-old kid because I'm like, bro, you got like 6 feet. You got 6 feet and you're a little kid. I don't understand how you're still touching my chair. And then now I'm the asshole. The 30-something-year-old man that's yelling at this little kid.
Tony's straight old man now.
I just want to watch the Bridges of Madison County or whatever the hell is on TV. The love story that's on the fucking screen. County. Like, it's just, and eat my cheese sticks. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, cheese sticks are good though. Put on.
All right, let's bring this one to a close. Tony, you have been heard. Thank you for sharing
and
that
hurt,
with us.
Heard and hurt.
So we're going to move on now to NFL playoffs week 3. We've got the conference championships. So we're going to go through our predictions. All right, guys. So there's 2 games. We got Tampa Bay at Green Bay and Buffalo at KC. I was 4-0 last week, so I'm going to go first here.
Really?
So let's start with the first
man.
game.
Awesome.
Dang, yeah, good job.
I plan on going 2-0 this week. So let's start with Tampa Bay at Green Bay. Green Bay is favored by 3.5. I'm going to tell you who I want to win and who is going to win. I want Tampa Bay to win. My heart is with Tampa Bay. I want to see Brady go to another Super Bowl. I think it'd be cool to see Gronk get there as well. I really want it to be them, but it's not going to be them. It's going to be Green Bay. And I think Green Bay is going to cover the 3.5. I think just Aaron Rodgers is on a mission. I still think he's, it's going to be the arguments between him and Mahomes right now of who's the best quarterback right now. All time, I still think it's Brady, but right now I think it's Rodgers and Mahomes. He's just too good. Green Bay's on a roll. It's at home in Green Bay, even though right now, you talked about it last week, Trey, home field advantage isn't what it used to be. It's still something. And so I think Green Bay is going to win. I think they're going to cover.
Okay, so I'm going to take Green Bay in this game as well. Green Bay's been on a roll, really mirroring what you said. Aaron Rodgers is on a freaking mission. So my biggest data point would be that Tampa Bay had 4 turnovers last week, where they caused 4 turnovers against the Saints. One was a pick 6, and the game was still relatively close. Mm-hmm. So their offense didn't produce a lot of points. I think they had 3 or 4 drives that are 10 plays or more, and they all resulted in a field goal. I think it was 3 drives, 10 plays or more. So they're not a high-powered offense. They're not firing on all cylinders. Now, part of that could be, the Saints and what they did. The Green Bay's defense has played really well in the last 9 games, but I think it just goes down to, like you said, Rodgers now, that when Tampa Bay played Green Bay earlier in the year, they destroyed them. It was like they beat them by 30 points. I'm going to say that's a fluke. This game is in Green Bay. There's supposed to be some weather, supposed to be in the 20s with about 60% chance of snow. So I've been kind of riding Green Bay really this whole year, and they've been good to me. I like Tom Brady. I would not have an issue if they went to the Super Bowl, but more than Brady getting validation of how good he is without Belichick, I want to see Rodgers, and we talked about this before as well, Chris. I want to see Rodgers get another Super Bowl ring. So
yeah, me too.
I'm not going to be upset either way. I'm cheering for both of them, but my money, and there will be money, my money will be on Green Bay -3. The spread's been fluctuating between 3 and 3.5. It's back up to 3.5. I was able to lock it in at 3, but just keep an eye out for that. And it could go back to 3.5 before kickoff, just because at a half a point, you could see more of the sharps and more of the pros going with Green Bay to get that hook, as they call it. What do you think?
It's a big half point.
It matters. 3 and 3.5 is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. What do you think, Tony?
Tony?
So they do halfsies? They're not like us?
They do. Unlike our rating system, they don't make
they're
you.
Trash then. They're trash then, bro. They should be more real with themselves. So I'm gonna go totally from I say a fan, but I wouldn't say I'm a fan of any of the teams in it. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm gonna go Green Bay because I always pick Rodgers. I wouldn't be sad though if Brady makes it, more as a salt in the eye to all the fans, all the people out there that are just Brady haters. Like, why not? I mean, he's the GOAT, dude. He's the GOAT. More of a GOAT than Rodgers. Man. I think Rodgers is great. He's up there too, but it's kind of like the Breeze thing. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's Brady, dude. Like, I see the game going. It'll be close the first quarter, like maybe 10-10, and then Green Bay will take off 3rd and 4th, maybe 20-something to 10 at the end of the 3rd, and then of course Brady does what he does, man. He comes back and he wins for that game. That's how I see it. For the AFC game, oh my gosh, I guess the Bills, man, only because they need the win, man. I want them to get it. I love the Chiefs, just from what they've done in the last couple seasons with Mahomes and Andy Reid. I've always liked Andy Reid.
It's hard not to like them, right?
Ever since I saw that video of him kicking the what was it, that a punt and kick pass thing where he's like a grown ass man kicking against children, like the joke of all that, like, and then Mahomes, and then he had that injury, that concussion protocol, and then Henne came in and fucking bossed out at the end of the last game to push them into this game. Like, dude, I don't know, man, but I want the Bills to win. We'll just put it at that. I don't care about points. I don't care about money. I call Green Bay and Bills in the bowl.
So I'll go, and then Chris, you can have the. Oh, go ahead.
Okay,
go
good.
Ahead.
You're good.
Okay, I'll give you the final word. So in the AFC game, so Buffalo obviously took care of the Ravens last week. Kansas City did not look great against the Browns. They were up big. The Browns came back. Obviously, Mahomes got hurt. Henne came in, closed out the game. His 3rd and 14 scramble, and then the 4th and 1. I mean, I think that was a really good play. I don't care who you are and what you've done, but that was a really good play. So I'm going to take the Bills. I think the Bills are a little bit the team of destiny here, but more than that, Patrick Mahomes, even though he's cleared from concussion protocol, I don't think he's right with his toe. And a huge part of what he does is being able to scramble around and extend plays. So he's really good, but if you can't, his game, if you can't extend plays and you can't scramble, that takes away a huge part of it. Now you look on the other end and how good Josh Allen is playing. Josh Allen is playing as good as anybody else. We talked about this last week, and he's mobile. So, they're kind of, a buddy had asked me, like, are they more like death by 1,000 cuts, or they hit you with a big play? And I said, they kind of do both, because they'll grind you down, but then they have Stephon Diggs on the outside. They'll hit that 20, 30, 40, 50 yarder. And then you also have to worry about Josh Allen, 6'4" or whatever he is. He can scramble for 5 yards for a first down, but he can also scramble for 20 or 30 yards. So that's really, really difficult. That's actually the blueprint of what the Chiefs have been doing to people the last couple of years. So my decision is based on how hot the Bills are, Patrick Mahomes not being right with his toe, and also Kansas City has not covered in their last 9 games. The last 9 games, they have not covered, and the spreads have not been adjusted for that. I'm surprised. I'll be surprised if the spread stays at 3 once they announce that Mahomes is good to go. I would think it would actually be more like 4.5. So if it doesn't go up, I think that's them adjusting for Kansas City not doing a good job of covering before. But 9 in a row, and I think the Bills have covered 8 out of 9 or something like that. I'm just kind of going with the hot team, and I like Kansas City, like you said, Tony. I like Andy Reid. I like Mahomes, but I'm kind of getting more on the Bills Mafia bandwagon. Maybe I'll jump through a table if they get to the Super Bowl or something like that. But I'm excited to see it. Either way, these games are going to be great. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Bills are the most complete team in the playoffs right now. I think that Patrick Mahomes is a bit of a question mark. So it'd be interesting to see, what he can do. But I mean, Cleveland, even before Mahomes was out last week, Cleveland held them closer.
Yeah,
it wasn't, super close, but they didn't let them run away with it. And Buffalo is a far superior team than Cleveland is. And so, I know they're at Kansas City, so that plays into it a little bit. But right now, to me, it's going to be Green Bay Buffalo. I think that's what you're looking at as your Super Bowl. Now, obviously, you could go a totally different way, but I mean, I see Rodgers coming through and winning, and I agree with you. I think Josh Allen is, he's as good as they are right now, right? I mean, we just said that Rodgers is probably the best there, but man, he's playing lights out, and you just can't discount them. So I'm looking forward to both games. It's going to be a great weekend. But so I've got Green Bay winning and covering, and I've got Buffalo winning and Kansas City clearly not covering. So
awesome.
All right, guys. So that brings us to the end of the show. So we appreciate it. Trey, I'm going to send it over to you to close us out.
Thanks, Chris. Hey, again, guys, thank you guys for watching. We have so much fun, filming the show. We get to hang out with each other. We hope that, for you guys just stop in and listen to our nonsense and our babbling on, and you enjoy a lot of it. We're doing a couple things. We're splitting these videos up, so it's a little bit easier if there's only certain topics that you want to listen to. Just check out those videos. The playlists are being broken up a little bit more by if it's a movie review, if it's a game review, if it's just kind of news. And we're doing a new thing that was Chris's idea, and he kind of launched this, which is your 5-minute review. So if you just want to get a quick review on something, almost all the reviews that we're doing the more extended reviews and discussions, and then we're chopping it down to a 5-minute review. So those have been doing pretty well on the channel. So we're excited about that. But again, we hope you guys are enjoying it. We're having a blast hanging out and doing this for you guys. So please please subscribe, and we're going to keep on going and pumping out more videos for you guys. So we'll see you guys on the next one, and thanks again.
See you guys.